For more than 7 decades, the pomp and prestige of a centuries-old institution has been used by the Queen to powerful effect. Queen Elizabeth met more presidents, prime ministers and famous figures than perhaps anyone ever.
She must have met everybody, and she must have been to almost every corner of the globe.
As head of many nations and her beloved Commonwealth, she welcomed all to the palace. And during her many overseas trips, every hand was shaken.
The British monarch is greeted by the Lion of Judah, Emperor Haile Selassie, on this royal occasion.
For more than 70 years, I have been lucky to meet and to know many of the world's great leaders. And I have perhaps come to understand a little about what made them special.
Queen Elizabeth could not always choose the company she kept.
The President of Syria and Mrs. al-Assad.
Diplomacy dictated even despised despots sometimes had to be welcomed. The Queen, a skilled navigator in these delicate moments. More than a dozen US presidents have come and gone, from Harry Truman to JFK, Reagan, Obama,
Where would you like us?
Trump and Biden, they all met the Queen, reinforcing that vital special relationship with every greeting and every state occasion. As our head of state, the Queen visited Australia 16 times and met with almost every Prime Minister, starting with her greatest fan, Sir Robert Menzies.
I did but see her passing by, and yet I love her till I die.
In a turbulent world, her wisdom and longevity gave her a unique perspective few, if any, could match.
Some cultures believe a long life brings wisdom. I'd like to think so. Perhaps part of that wisdom is to recognize some of life's baffling paradoxes, such as the way human beings have a huge propensity for good, and yet a capacity for evil.
Now, the man who through the darkest days of the war would report regularly to the sovereign all the great affairs of state.
Early in her reign, Sir Winston Churchill tutored the young Queen in the fine arts of foreign policy.
Winston Churchill, my first Prime Minister, said that the further backward you look, the further forward you can see.
But there were deep divisions between the Queen and her Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher over apartheid, and the man who helped defeat it in South Africa, Nelson Mandela.
I am delighted to welcome you to Buckingham Palace.
When Mrs. Thatcher was the Prime Minister, she regarded Mandela, who was in prison, as a dangerous terrorist. The Queen, by contrast, regarded Mandela, quite rightly, as a great visionary.
The warmth of that relationship was on display during the Queen's visit to South Africa, arriving on the Royal Yacht Britannia. This a royal reset for a nation welcomed back after the isolation of the apartheid years. Within her working life, nothing gave the Queen more satisfaction than the development and expansion of the Commonwealth, which now includes more than 50 countries and more than 2 billion people.
A century had passed since a reigning monarch last visited India.
And one of the roles that she took most seriously was being head of the Commonwealth, which she regarded as a really important political role, not simply being a figurehead.
I think if it hadn't been for the Queen, it's possible the Commonwealth wouldn't have continued. I think she has been the galvanising force.
Her dedication to the Commonwealth added to an often punishing travel schedule.
Well, I opened Parliament in Canada, and then I came here to open Parliament, and then in Virgin Islands, and then in Antigua, then in Barbados, and then I flew home by Concorde, which is the only way I could get home in time to open Parliament in London.
If age was wearying her, it wasn't obvious. She joked about it at a 2015 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting in Malta with a Prime Minister half her years.
I am deeply mindful of Your Majesty's long and tireless service to the Commonwealth and to its citizens.
Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister of Canada, for making me feel so old.
But Queen Elizabeth was planning for a future without her. In 2018 in London, she urged the Commonwealth leaders to continue their work after her departure.
It is my sincere wish that the Commonwealth will continue and will decide that one day the Prince of Wales should carry on the important work started by my father in 1949.
She observed and she made history. In 2011, the Queen visited the Irish Republic.
Argus Acoisa.
Speaking first in perfect Gaelic, she expressed deep regret for the violence and animosity that had long soured relations between Britain and Ireland.
These events have touched us all, many of us personally, and are a painful legacy.
In recent years, overseas travel slowed and then stopped. But it did not prevent the Queen from sending a message of hope to the world under threat from a deadly virus.
We know that coronavirus will not overcome us. As dark as death can be, particularly for those suffering with grief, light and life are greater.
Few remember a time before this princess became a queen.
Sydney-siders, turn out.
A reassuring constant in a world of endless change.
The true measure of all our actions is how long the good in them lasts.
The loss of this remarkable woman is being felt far beyond Buckingham Palace. A queen, a mother, her tireless work for country, Commonwealth and beyond is done.